Hi friends, hello, hello. How are we doing today? How is everybody? Today, I went to Joann Fabrics after a work meeting for my second job, and I more or less just blacked out. I have had a really rough week. As you know, if you've been watching my channel, I haven't been doing much shopping because, I've been boycotting Target, Walmart, Amazon, everything that's dropped, DEI initiatives, or not everything, because I think a lot of places have that I don't know about, but the ones I know about, I've boycotted. So, I haven't been spending very much, but I went to Joann's today because they were closing down. They are closing down. And so everything was on sale. I actually went to 2 different locations because my work meeting for my second job was like an hour away. So I could hit 2 different locations on my drive home. So yeah, I caught a lot of stuff. Let's take a look at it. Also, if you hear anything in the background, my roommate is watching TV, and I don't want to tell her to stop because this is her house too. Also, she's been cleaning all day, and I don't think she's feeling great. So, she also doesn't know that I have an ASMR channel. So I'm just gonna let her rock. With the TV, we can just think of it as ambient background noise. I could title this video, if I wanted to, Cozy Joann's Haul with background, or with the TV playing in the other room, and the Tumblr girlies would love it. So, I'm very sorry if it's distracting to you, but I live in a small apartment and I'm pretty sure she's gonna be having it on for the rest of the night. So it's not like I can wait for it to stop. And also, she deserves to enjoy her Saturday night as well. So, alright, let's get started. The lovely cashier at Joann's noticed that I was buying some storage containers. So she packed everything I bought into these storage containers, which is so cute. So I have 2 storage containers to show you, and then a couple bigger stuff that didn't quite fit. But first, I'll show you what I got at the first Joann Fabrics. I have been trying to get my friends to do a tie-dye day with me. They're down. We've just been very busy, and one of my friends has a backyard, so we're like, we could go out in the backyard and do some tie-dyeing. So since everything was on sale, I got this big boy tie-dye set. It comes with it says it's a tie-dye party for 6. There's only 3 of us, but I thought it would be fun. It comes with this reusable storage container, 12 protective gloves, 90 rubber bands, a project guide, a surface cover, and 16 colors. So, it looks like our colors are pink rose, fuchsia, red, red rouge, coral, orange, yellow, lime, green, teal, turquoise, blue, but that looks more purple to me, I'm not gonna lie to you, purple, violet, and black. So, very exciting. But because there really only seems to be one actually blue color in it, this is the turquoise and this is the quote-unquote blue, which I don't know about you, that's definitely purple. So because there weren't a lot of blues, I also got this Shibori color kit, which has a light blue and an indigo as well as a gray, and it's supposed to make like stuff like that. So I'm very excited to use these. And because everything was on sale, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white t-shirts. That is 2 for each of us. So, we are all set to be doing some tie-dye. I'm quite excited. I have been wanting to do like crafts with my friends for a while. So that was all I got at the first Joann's. It was a very, very small Joann's. It's like, honestly, the smallest one I've ever been in. So then I drove to the second Joann's. And there I got these iron-on letters because I want to turn one of my tie-dye shirts that I'm going to be making into a Protect Trans Kids shirt, because the one I have is like extra large, so it doesn't really work for anything other than a sleep shirt, and I want something that I can wear out in public. I also got this shirt I'm wearing from Joann's, not for any craft, I just liked the color. Also, continuing with things that didn't fit in the little totes, I got 4 canvases. They are Art Smith brand, which I'm gonna be so real with you, I am not familiar with. I got these canvases also to do some crafts with my friends. I have been wanting to do a paint night where we each have like 5 minutes on a canvas and then we rotate them, so we all paint on all the canvases and then we get to leave with something, each of us, that we've all worked on together. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 for me, 1 for my friend Katie, 1 for my friend Kaylee, and 1 for mistakes. And if we don't make mistakes, I'll just paint something else on it. Alright. And then the last thing I got that doesn't fit in the plastic totes are picture frames. Picture frames are expensive, and they were like 40% off. So I was like, we're doing this. I'm not gonna hold all of them up, but I got 4 of these 8 by 10 inch ones with the mat. They can hold a 5 by 6 inch photo or painting, and I thought this was perfect because if you can see up there, it's the matted part is the same size as these little art pieces that I did, and I don't think I'm gonna frame these, but I still have the pad of paper, so I'm gonna make some more art for these frames. And then the only thing I went into Joann's knowing that I wanted to buy, aside from the stuff for paint night, but even the tie-dye was like, I came up with the idea on the spot, was this big frame, because I have been meaning to frame. I showed it in a video a while ago before I even got this mic, so when I had my old setup, I got a printed set list from a Nico Case concert that she signed, and I want to put the set list in this frame because right now it is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper floating around my room, and I don't want it to get ruined. So I want to frame it up because it's signed by Nico Case and it's her set list of the show that I saw. And I love Nico Case. I have listened to Nico Case for my whole life because my dad is a fan of hers. But when I was a small child, he was a fan of hers and played a lot of her music. My most favorite song of hers is Thrice All American. My dad put it on a Christmas CD that he made. It's not a Christmas song. My dad just makes Christmas CDs. It's a long story that I can talk about later. But he put it on a Christmas CD and I loved it. And I still love it. Yeah, so I'm super hyped to finally frame it. I went to that concert back in October. Alright, so let's get to our first tone. And I want you to bear in mind that I lost all self-control when I was in this Joann's. I bought so much. I don't usually spend this much. I am not an overconsumer, but this was really the perfect storm of retail therapy and Joann's is closing, so I don't want to miss out, and everything is on sale. And like I said, I just like blacked out. I left and I was like, did I really just spend all that money? Okay, so we're gonna open it up. and we will get through the boring stuff first because I bought a lot of cheap acrylic paint for the paint night that I was talking about. I am not a paint snob. I actually don't paint very much. I do a lot of stuff with markers, and when I do paint, I use watercolor or gouache, so I don't really care about my quality of acrylic paint. So I bought this because it was cheap and because it's just for a fun night with me and my friends. But I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yes, looks like just 14 bottles of paint. And if you were watching very closely, you would notice that there were some key colors missing. I do already have some acrylic paint. However, the colors that I have are a very niche color palette because when I was in college, I lived in a dorm building with leaded glass windows on all the doors, and we were allowed to and honestly encouraged to paint the windows. A lot of them were already painted and you could paint over them with your own design, and some of them were like really intricate and like well known, and like if you painted over them it would be like kind of a big deal. Like there was one on the first floor that was the Little Prince, an illustration of the Little Prince on the door, and you wouldn't paint over that one because that was like a well-known one, you know what I mean? But there were some really beautiful ones, some really fun ones. There was a Calvin and Hobbes one. There was a Very Hungry Caterpillar one, I believe. Someone did an Umbrella Academy one my junior year. I lived in the same dorm all 4 years because I loved it. But I didn't actually get to paint a door until my senior year, and I painted over the garden wall. I'd really love to know if it was still there because I put a lot of work into it. So if you go to Bryn Mawr College, let me know. I'll tell you what room it is. Because I'm really curious. I don't think I have any Bryn Mawr College watchers though. Honestly, probably a good thing. Not because I have anything against them, but like good thing that people I know and stuff aren't finding my channel. Alright, so what's left in this box? I think that Joann's has some really good sensory items. And I have been wanting to get a Nido Nice Cube for one of my kids because he had one and he really liked it, and then it broke. A lot of our sensory toys break and they get a lot of use. So I've been wanting to replace that, and I knew that Joann's occasionally had some. Unfortunately, they were very low on a lot of sensory toys, unsurprisingly, since everything is on sale. Like, if I saw any Nido toy on sale, I would be buying several, for my kids. So instead, I got two packages of this stretchy sand. Basically just Kinetic sand. They're very crinkly. gonna be real with you though, it feels very cheap. It feels very like stiff. I don't know if it's just like packed really tightly or if it's just bad quality. But I think they'll enjoy it nonetheless. And that was all they had left. And then when I was in the checkout line, I found this super gummy squish ball. I'm gonna leave it in the packaging because I don't want to bring like stress balls to work that look like they're used. But it is almost Neato textured. It's like very like slow to squish and slow to rise. I kind of really want to take it out of the packaging, but I'm already going to take the Kinetic sand out, so we're going to leave that be for now. Alright, and then we have the final tote. Actually, before I do that, let's put all the paints back in the first tote, because right now they're just sitting in my lap, and that seems like a ridiculous way to continue the video. Not gonna lie to you there. Excuse me. I'm quite excited to build up my art supplies collection. I feel like when I was a kid in my house, you could just kind of we had a whole cabinet full of art supplies because my mom went to art school and my grandparents were very artistic. They were very artistic. And so we have like drawings that both my maternal grandmother and maternal grandfather did hanging up around the house. We have photography from my dad and paintings and drawings from my mom. And then as we got older, we have some of my art hanging up around the house. My brother is more of like a STEM guy, but he drew this like really accurate, like realistic pencil drawing of some guy who's important to Honda. I don't know if it was the founder of Honda or the current CEO of Honda. I don't know. He's some Honda guy. My brother really likes cars, and it makes me angry when I look at it because I'm like, you're really good at drawing. Like, this is an awesome drawing. He just like did it on a whim because he liked cars, and it's this like amazing portrait of this guy, and I'm like, screw you. Like, I can't be realistic in my drawings. So that's hanging up. We all have stuff that we've made hanging up around the house, but since I've moved out, a lot of the just random art supplies I've had access to my entire life are no longer available to me because they are back in Maryland. So I'm like, when I painted those shoes a few weeks ago, I was like, I really want to paint, but the only acrylic paints I have are in this over the garden wall color scheme. So I have like green, yellow, red, and green, and and charcoal gray. I didn't have any blue, because when I was painting it, I had a little bit of my gouache paints left, and I used that to paint Beatrice, because she was so little, because she's just a little bird. So I was like, I don't need to buy blue paint, but all of my gouache paints dried out, so I didn't have any blue, and I didn't have any purple, I didn't have any like cool colors other than green. So that's why I actually ended up doing the oranges design with the green and yellow, because I had a very limited color palette with the paints that I had. So I'm glad to build my collection back up. Alright. Oh, I moved this out of the other bin. But I also got stickers. I got them both for potential ASMR purposes and also for the children and also for my journal. So I think it's 3 pages. Yeah, we've got 3 sheets in here. So I'll probably do like 1 sheet for ASMR, 1 sheet for the children, and maybe half a sheet for my journal, and the other half will go to the children. I'm not like a scrapbooker. I just think it might be cute to put some of these in my journal. They're little candies. I just think that's adorable. I really had to rein myself in the sticker section though, because I'm like, I'm never gonna use these. But I had like 3 sticker books in my cart, and not counting this, I had one that was like beetles, and it was like artistic design beetles, and one that was house plants, and then some like clear background stickers. And then I was like, no, I need to calm down. So I put them back, which is very sad. But I kept the candies because I felt like they'd apply best to like each of the things I need stickers for. You know, everybody likes candy. Alright, let's get to the final bin. Oh my god. I just got a whiff of what was in here. I'll tell you about it in a sec. Okay, so first off, I also got these canvas panels for myself because I think a lot of people think of these as like just kind of the cheaper alternative to canvases. However, I like them. I find the other canvases a bit intimidating, and these feel more closely aligned to like paper. And also, I feel like, I don't know, I don't love the chunky look of a lot of canvases. I can't really explain why, but I just like these because they're flat. So each of these is a 3-pack. They are 5x7, and I'm planning just to do some nice little painting / drawing stuff on them. We'll see when I get around to it. I just like having options, you know. Also in the kit, I stopped by the Joann's candle section because obviously I have no self-control when it comes to candles. We've talked about this. So let's start with the little ones. They had these little ones that have crystals in them. This one is allegedly opal. I kind of doubt that they're real crystals, but I don't really care. I'm actually not a crystal person. I went to college with a lot of crystal girlies. It's kind of like one of the main demographics of Bryn Mawr, witchy crystal girlies. There's several other main demographics. I fall into the androgynous, short brown hair, short person vibe. there's a bunch of us and we all have like 2 to 4 letter names. Yeah. There's a lot of people at Bryn Mawr College who fall into my genre of person. I'm not an original. But this one is opal and citron. I don't really have a lot of citrusy flavored, citrusy scented candles. So I thought it would be fun to get one. It does smell good. Yeah, and I'm excited to burn it and dig the crystals out, and then they're gonna sit on my bookshelf for like 6 months, and then I'm gonna throw them away. That's how we roll around here. Alright, and I also got a second crystal candle. There were a bunch of them. This one is peridot and honeydew. And again, I don't think this is real peridot. It's looking very much like rock candy. But that being said, it smells like honeydew. And as I talked about in my candle video, my honeydew candles are very small and running low. So when they run out, I'll have this one, and then I'll take the crystals out and they'll sit on my bookshelf for 6 months, and then I'll throw them away because I don't actually really care about crystals. I'm so sorry to the crystal girlies. I'm a bad gay person. Alright, and the final candle I got is in this nice little glass container. This nice little glass container. It matches my shirt. I have accepted that I am in my light blue era. When I was in college, I was a red person all the way. I used to have red glasses. They were red and hexagonal. They were really cool. I actually miss them a lot. They got broken by a child at work who pulled them off my face and snapped them. Which, yeah, it was very disappointing. But yeah, I had like 6 different red shirts, and everything I bought was red. And I had longer hair back then because I was afraid to cut it, so I would pull it up into a bun, and I'd wear a red headband around my forehead because I was insecure about my forehead. But I think now I'm kind of in my light blue era, like accidentally. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I have light blue glasses, as you've seen in other videos. I'm sitting here in this light blue tealy shirt, holding a light blue candle, and my phone is light blue. And I'm like, do I like light blue? And I'm assuming yes. But anyway, tangent aside, this candle is aloe and agave scented. It's not like a super remarkable scent. It's very gentle, but sometimes you need a gentle scent, you know. And I liked that it was in this bumpy It's just because our apartment is small and the walls are thin. I'm very sorry, guys. Alright, so we're coming down the home stretch. We have... Oh, I should have shown these with the tie-dye stuff. These are fabric markers. I bought some fabric markers because I thought we could decorate the shirts a little bit more than just tie-dye. They are in the colors. Is there a white one in here? There's a white one in here. That's so exciting. They're in the colors white, black, pink, orange, green, blue, and purple, which I feel like is a pretty good range. The other ones were like pastel, and I'm like, I need a little bit more punch than that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, so I got the neon ones, but they just seem kind of bold to me. And I am honestly not anticipating using these a lot, but I'm like, they were on sale. I'm setting up this tie-dye day with my friends. We have a bunch of different colors. We have iron-on letters. We have t-shirts. So we might as well also have some fabric markers just in case. And then after this, we're just getting into kind of the more quote-unquote serious art supplies. I mentioned earlier that my gouache paints dried out and they were in little tiny bottles. So I bought this Winsor and Newton pack of gouache paint. This was, I think, the most expensive thing that I bought today. It still wasn't that expensive because it was on sale, but I think it still ended up being like $30. It has 12 tubes in it. 12 tubes. It has white, primary yellow, medium yellow, vermilion, primary red, ultramarine, primary blue, medium green, burnt sienna, and black. And I mostly bought those. I've lost them. I've put them somewhere and I've lost them in the mess of all the stuff I've bought. Those panel canvases, the little tiny ones for this gouache paint, because I like the idea of doing something smaller with gouache. I love painting with gouache. I don't do it very often because painting in general requires a lot of setup, but it's very fun. I love the texture of it. And finally, I got 4 alcohol ink markers in colors that I don't really have. I got olive green. I have a lot of greens. I don't have an olive green. And then I got citron because I only have like 2 yellows, and one of them is like a very deep yellow, kind of an earwaxy yellow, and so I wanted a different kind of yellow. Again, these markers were pretty picked through, so I didn't get as many as I would like. I've been wanting to get the Ahuhu pastel set, but because Ahuhu is a smaller company, they sell out very, very, very fast. I am on the email list for 3 different pastel sets. On the email list for a 72 pack and 2 slightly different 36 pack. 2 slightly different 36 packs. And I'll get an email from them at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and by the time I see the email, they're sold out again. So I wanted to get some more pastels because I really like doing sort of unnatural skin tones. Like, you can see this blue friend up here and another blue friend here. And if you really look, there's some purple and green friends down here. But it's good to start off with a pastel base so you can shade over it and you can still have highlights in. And the Hoo markers that I have are very often not light enough. Actually, these down here, the bases were done in water-based markers, which I don't like as much. So I was looking for pastels. They were very sold out, but I got this pastel blue and this periwinkle as well. And hopefully these can tide me over until I can get to an Ohuhu restock in time and get my pastel markers. So that is the end of my haul, the end of the stuff I got. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Kinetic sand in this box. The Kinetic sand in this box. I don't know if you could hear that. What if I do it like this? Handles are gonna be the end of me. So these are Ziploc bags, but because of the fact that I'm just gonna put them in this locking bin, I'm just cutting straight through it. Alright, that was a lot of very loud packaging. This is really dry. I think it will be a bit better the more that we play with it, and especially the more that the kids play. Yeah, honestly, the more I'm breaking it up, the better it feels. It's still quite dry, drier than I imagine a lot of Kinetic sand to be, but it's softer for sure. And we're just breaking it up. We're just breaking it up, and I'm definitely dropping crumbs onto my bed. I do love Kinetic sand. I love how it just kind of falls. It's definitely not the kind of thing that I would like play with on my own. I mean, obviously I'm playing with it right now, but I mean like that I would buy for myself. I'm not a big fidget toy person. I have tried. I like a good stress ball, you know, but honestly, a lot of the stuff I do where I would like use a fidget toy are things where I need both of my hands. Like, I write and I draw, and it doesn't really make sense for me to be using a fidget toy. However, when I'm at work, I love to just pick up one and just like mess with it for a little bit. But it doesn't really make sense for me to own them. I totally get the satisfaction. I just wouldn't use it enough. So, this is one bag of kinetic sand. I'm gonna go ahead and open the next one. Alright, the other one is also purple. I almost got them in 2 different colors, but I figured since I was gonna be putting them in the same bin, they would get muddy and disgusting if I did that. And I'm gonna be real with you, this is gonna get gross enough as it is, because these are little kids, and little kids, neurodivergent or not, can be really gross. And they get stuff really gross sometimes. So I do think they'll enjoy this though. My little boy who I work with found some kinetic sand in the OT's office, or not the office, but one of their treatment rooms, and he spent the whole session just like cutting it with scissors. He loves to just kind of like cut stuff apart. So, sorry, I just got a low battery notification on my phone. So I think we ought to wrap this up. We are almost at 50 minutes, and y'all have been listening to the TV in the background for just as long. So, this is our bin of kinetic sand. And it is definitely cheap kinetic sand. I've seen and felt much nicer sand than this. People who are used to kinetic sand and who've played with it before, do you mind answering my question of what would happen if I added like a few spritzes of water to this? Would it get a little bit nicer, or would it just get disgusting? Like, I don't want to ruin this, but it's very crumbly at the moment. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you liked seeing this Joann's haul. I hope that it was relaxing for you, and I hope that the TV wasn't too distracting. I hope that you have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever, and I will see